Joining us on the horn today, make some noise, people, the last day of Around the Horn. Here we go. Joining us on the horn today, Andrew Avatar Phillips. We made the connection between Avatar and Pocahontas and has blown my mind forever. Queen Natsura, listen to your heart. That's all I have to say.
You think you know whoever laid the land on it.
Think we all you people. Phil the Thrill Wagner. David, Big Preach, Shannon. And the challenger in today's wild card, KJ Colors that engine, Urkel Bastion. Today on the horn, playoffs.
Are you kidding me?
Pete, and Paper, Rock, Scissors, Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Like that. Check that bad boy out. More on that in a minute. 10 topics, but only one winner. Horn! Hey now, and welcome back to the final rendition of Around the Horn, at least a year. Yesterday, Phil Wagner won the smack-off, Around the Horn, in the most dominating performance in horn history. Stop doing this. What are you doing? Run the horn again. It's overtime. All right. Now, Phil Wagner won the smack-off, Around the Horn, in the most dominating performance in horn history, in only 3 days, but still. A commanding victory yesterday, taking shots and taking names and showing no mercy like Captain Insano. Looking to go out with the championship belt. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Are you guys ready? Yeah. It's time for the first word. First word, okay. Finally.
Your rock has come back.
Big news coming out yesterday from the NCAA. College football is getting a playoff system. The new format, which will go into effect in the 2014 season, will feature a 14 playoff, and the winner of the bracket will be crowned college football's undisputed, well, that remains to be seen, national champion. It sounds great and all, but is this the answer to college football's conundrum? And if not, what will it take for college football to get there? Around the horn to Andrew Phillips.
I think it's a better answer, but I don't know if it's the answer. Anytime you have rankings, you're always going to have people that are arguing over the rankings. What's interesting is this isn't going to go into effect for like another 2 or 3 years until the current system goes out. So you'll have whoever's the champion the next couple of years, people are still going to be saying, I'll just wait for the playoff system. I heard on the radio the other day, the suggestion is just to have in the Final Four, just go ahead and make sure it's 3 SEC teams and then 1 from somewhere else, and that would probably ensure that you've got about the right numbers.
I wish. It's wishful thinking. Let's go to Big Preach.
Hey, I love the playoff system more than Andrew Phillips loves time travel and the Grizzlies. I've been waiting for this longer than Phil Wagner's been wearing shorts and jerseys. I would love to hear Andrew's take, because I'm sure he's got a way that the Memphis Tigers are going to be able to come into the football world some way they'll probably play in like the 5-hour energy peopleofwalmart.com bowl. We in the SEC are not scared of this format. In 2008, our commissioner brought this very same thing to the table, and they declined it. Now they present it 4 years later. We're always ahead of the game. 16-team model would be better. Double elimination, bringing it down eventually to the Crimson Tide for all the marbles. 2014 will be a Big 12 team playing Alabama, a Big 10 team playing LSU, and then Alabama and LSU for the championship again. I think the playoff system is here to stay. I think it'll stay like it is probably for about 10 years. It'll stick around like the song Call Me Maybe in your mind.
Preach with a pop culture reference. Hey, 15 points today, Shannon. Pretty impressive. Let's go to KJ. Go ahead.
Well, honestly, I don't really like football to start with. I'd rather take one of this
see Phil Wagner versus John Thomas in a football shootout. What I've noticed about college football is all about money, and the people that didn't like the BCS system, they're definitely not going to like the playoff system. You know, there's going to be 5 teams with a perfect season. One of them's always going to be left out. And, you know, like in Vandy and Alabama, the 2 deciding teams they had, Alabama will get picked because it's a higher seed, and, you know, Vandy's obviously better than Alabama, but, you know.
You're doing well. All right, now, Phil, hot take.
Hey, Philip, thanks for the vine, and thanks for the opportunity. First off, there have been this many people in the South excited about something since David Fleming announced he was going to be a camp counselor this year. Oh. There hasn't been this much rejoicing in Ohio since Bone Thugs and Harmony dropped For the Love of Money. There haven't been this many people jumping around in Michigan since they ran Rich Rod and his annoying wife out of town. Look, we all know this move is all about the money. And the fact is, there hasn't been this much money floating in the air since Pac-Man Jones left Las Vegas. Let's be real, whatever system has Alabama winning 2 national championships every 3 years is the one I want. Truthfully, let's be real, I want to see this, how this plays out. How much time will there be between the games? I don't think there are perfect solutions to this problem. No matter how many teams you put in, 2, 4, 8, there are going to be teams that are left out with legitimate cries. But it is what it is. Here's to the SEC winning another 8 straight titles. And good night now!
All right. How long do you give the new playoff system before changes are made, Phil?
I go like Big French. I say 10 years.
10 years. Well, 10 years. Anybody up there want to call their shot on who will be the first winner of the 2014 new playoff system national champion? Rolling down. We're thinking ahead. Let's just think 1 season ahead. How about next year?
Vanderbilt.
Vandy.
There's always that chance.
You know what I like about a Vandy fan? They're hopeless. So you got 3 more points. Hopeful and hopeless. All right, let's move on. The time of his life. Imagine that Jesus Christ came into your school one day unannounced and spent his day there with the student body, with all the students. Who would Jesus spend his time with? Let's go to you, Phil.
This is a good question. I say, I think Jesus would spend time with the kids that nobody talks to. I think about kids that are hurting, that may be struggling with abuse or things going on at home that maybe people don't know about with their parents or with their own issues. Kids may be struggling with drugs, different kinds of addictions. I think the kids that don't fit in, I think every high school has kids that just don't fit in, they don't find their place. And I think when I thought about this answer, it really opens my eyes to how I should be, how we should be, because I think Jesus would reach out to a lot of people that I don't reach out to.
KJ, over to you.
Yeah, that is a really, really good question, but I honestly think that Jesus would spend time with every possible person that he could, because in God's eyes, we're all God's children, and God doesn't show any nepotism between us. You know, everyone has a chance to break out of the cocoon, if you will, and become something beautiful for God. And God knows that, and he's going to use people. And so I think we talk about it.
I think first, around lunchtime, he looked for the little boy 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And then I think that he would definitely, you know, Jesus can know people's heart. And so I think he would definitely know what people are going through, and he would try to migrate toward that. And the only way we can even come close to being able to do that is keep our eyes open and really try to see people. And like KJ's answer, where, you know, Jesus really can see everybody. And even though we can't do that, we ought to have eyes that would say, I want to see who Jesus would want me to see today. But there's really 2 groups that I think, and the second one, I think we might sometimes ignore, but we don't mean to, in our heart. I think it says that the scriptures say that Jesus came to seek and save the lost. So I think Jesus really would go around seeking for those that are hurting, seeking for those that aren't saved. But if you'll notice that in all of Jesus' surroundings, he had an inner circle that he spent the most time with. So even though he might try to really spend a lot of time with a lot of kids, there would be an inner circle of righteous people, and those would be the ones he would run with. Peter, James, and John were some of the most righteous people in his area, and he made sure that he spent the most time with them. And so I think that he'd reach out to a lot of people, but he'd have a running crowd, and the running crowd would be God. We get ourselves in a mess when we don't do that.
That's a really good point. I hope you guys grasp that. Yeah. Imagine if you want to be like Jesus at your school, spending time not just with the unrighteous, but with the righteous, and spending quality time with righteous people. That's kind of what we've been doing this week out of it. Andrew.
I think you guys have brought up some awesome points. One thing that came to mind when I thought of this question was that people that responded to Jesus a lot of times were the people who could sense their need, the kind of religious elite. They thought they had it all together, and so they, even though Jesus taught them, they didn't necessarily respond to him. It was the people on the fringes. I think about people who were sinners, tax collectors, struggling with leprosy, those kinds of things. I don't know what the equivalent would be when we're thinking about, our school, after school, or lunchtime. But Jesus would be reaching out to those people on the fringes, likely because they'd be responding to what he had to say. Obviously, he was here for everyone. One of the things I thought of too, because based on the question we had yesterday in Isaiah 53, when you have that prophecy about Jesus not coming with beautiful form or appearance, if you think about the way he came to the world, if he came into the world the same way today, it would not be to a wealthy family. It would not be with all the right kinds of clothes or the right truck or whatever we think of, we look for. I wonder sometimes if Jesus were at our school today, would we talk to him? Would we associate with him? Is that what we're looking for? Is that the way we're looking? And that's pretty challenging to me to think about my focus.
Good point. Yeah, you've heard a lot of good stuff there. I like the parallels between the unrighteous and the righteous, and also keeping in mind the self-righteous. All right, let's move on. It's a quick score update real quick. We have Andrew with 14, David with 20, Phil with 19, KJ with 13. It's time to buy or sell.
Buy or sell.
If you agree, you're buying. If you disagree, you're selling. To the bat grave. Really? We'll see. Christopher Nolan has hinted at the fact that Batman could end with him dying in the final installment of the Batman trilogy, set to hit theaters July 20th. It's the right way to end it, to blow the whole thing up, Christopher Nolan told Empire magazine. Go to the next slide, folks, if you're asking. It's better than trying to spin the thing out indefinitely and turn it into the Bond franchise. What say you? Are you buying or selling that Batman will die in The Dark Knight Rises? Let's go, David.
Sell. Sell, sell. When's the last time you heard a director of a movie tell the end of the movie before it ever hits the theaters? Stupid. It's called The Dark Knight Rises, not The Dark Knight Falls. The Dark Knight dies in this movie, and I'll question where we can come as a society. He's Batman, he's not Bat-dead. The guy is an icon. He's a legend. Take him off of the world and we become un-American. Batman is more than a human. The last movie revealed that. He is a principle. He is the principle of goodness and of courage and of strength against the darkness. God Almighty resurrected Jesus Christ. It won't be him that resurrects Batman. If they kill him, it will be the other God, spelled with a little M, mammon, the Bible calls it. Money, we call it today. And Batman makes a lot of it. He will not stay dead. So whenever we think of somebody saying Batman's going to die, you ought to have a phobia if you say that. There's probably a bat coming your way about right now. So, all right, but what else that is so important for us to remember is just the impact he's already had on America. Just the other day, a 14-year-old brother saved his sister in a courageous way, and when asked about it, he said, "I found the courage in Batman." A surgeon was about to give up. A surgeon was about to give up on a surgery gone horribly wrong, and he was about to give up. Instead, he kept with it, saved the patient's life, and said he credits Batman. That's all lies. But it is still the principle. It's still the principle of courage and of righteousness. After all, I don't know if you thought about this, but without Batman, who's going to wear the cape? Who's going to call the bats? Who's going to answer the bat signal? Who's going to rival the Riddler? Who is going to two-step with Two-Face? Are you really going to watch a cartoon when the lead character is dead? Listen, somebody has to handle the guy that says, "You want to know where I got these scars?"
Phil, go ahead, jump in.
I'm definitely selling. Holy delusional director, Chris Nolan. I haven't seen a death this heavily anticipated since Miss O'Leary sang One Dark Night when we were all in bed. I mean, speaking of Dark Knight's Rising, fire, fire, fire. Batman might jump off a cliff when we hit the 20-minute mark. I haven't seen a death this heavily anticipated since Goose joined Maverick as co-pilot. I haven't seen death come in like this since old man Apollo Creed got in a ring with Divine Drago. Since Clever Lane predicted bang for Rocky Balboa. Look, seriously, you're not killing Batman, Chris Nolan. You can't stop Batman. You can only hope to contain him.
Andrew, jump in.
Well, like I said, I feel like I should go home after David's response. But I'm definitely selling this for two reasons. Number one, I think it's pretty funny that Christopher Nolan's talking like somehow he can kill Batman and they'll never have any more Batman movies. You know, he didn't create them or anything. That was actually Bob Kane in Detective Comics 27, 1939. But when we think about, think about Batman, you think about what you've seen already. He's done a lot with the comic book, and Bane is going to be in this next one. And Bane actually is the one who brought Batman back in the comic book. But we all know, obviously, because we all read so many of the comics growing up, that Batman didn't die. They had the substitute guy for a while that no one liked, and so Bruce Wayne's back got better, and he's back in action. So something bad might happen to Batman, but you can't get rid of him.
He was back in action, I say. Very nice. KJ, jump in.
Honestly, not going to top those three answers, but I'm just going to attempt it. I'm just going to say, I'm going to point out three examples. Spy Kids, Spider-Man, and Transformers. These are all three movies that they say were going to end, and they came back like 10 years later with a remake, and then they kept on remaking it. So I'm going to say, I think Batman has just as much of a chance of dying down as Phil Wagner's temper does when he gets done from
All right. Nice take. All right, let's move on. He repeats. The ring promises of LeBron are still ringing in our ears. They got the first ring, but they're still a long way from the 7 that he promised now over a year ago. Are you buying or selling a Heat repeat for next year? Around the horn to Andrew Phillips.
I'm definitely selling this. I know I gave LeBron a hard time yesterday, but it's just so hard to repeat in the NBA. We forget they were on the ropes against Indiana. They almost lost to the Celtics, and that's just coming out of the Eastern Conference. They would have to face, if they make it to the finals, a hungrier Oklahoma City, San Antonio Spurs that's been retooled, or maybe the Dallas Mavericks with Darren Williams. I just don't see it happen. They're not going to be as hungry as they were this year. There's only one way that the Heat can win, aside from obviously adding the other shooter like we talked about yesterday. But that is if LeBron does what he did last offseason. Last offseason he met with Hakeem Olajuwon, worked in his post game. This offseason, I know I've given him a hard time, but I would welcome LeBron to train with me and learn the Phillips skyhook perfected in Church League basketball. There are two things about the Phillips skyhook that throw opponents off. Number one, you don't actually look at the goal when you shoot it, which is really something that throws them off. And then two, you only make it 11.8% of the time, so they really never know what's coming next. That's the only way that they can win championship next year.
I put the team on my back.
All right, let's go to KJ.
I just want to say that if you're a Heat fan, you're a disgrace to your family and country. I want to say, it's all right. You might as well just give up on that dream.
Hey, Grizzlies made history. No one has lost as bad a lead as they did.
All right, go ahead.
I'd like to make a reference, though. The Heat is a young team, and we all know they're going to get older and they're going to start getting worse. But a reference to that, you could imagine, is the Campers versus Stout game at church camp. The Stout, yeah, they win every year, but they're getting older. Thomas, yeah. He was good a couple of years ago, but he's starting to lose it. So, they're not going to do it.
All right, Phil, jump in.
I'm definitely selling. The fact is, Eric Spoelstra still cannot coach. It all depends on what they do in the offseason in reality. Truthfully, if they make a few good free agent signings, they will be tough to beat next year. But I think the West will come back, like Andrew said. The West will come back with a vengeance. But I'll give you a few things that are more likely to happen than the Heat repeating next year's champion. Number one, David Shannon shaving his mustache. Number two, Andrew Phillips deciding to go by Andy. Number three, Pat Hackney getting his ear pierced. Number four, Philip Jenkins getting YOLO tattooed on his ankle. And number five, me getting married. It ain't gonna happen.
All right, David, go ahead.
I'm buying. Going once, going twice, sold. I knew I'd be alone on this in this group, and according to Jesus, being in the minority puts me in a good place. With LeBron, Big Wade, Chris Bosh, one guy and that other guy, they're tough to beat. Now, they have two former Memphis Grizzly ball boys, but they have that clutch three-point shooter Mario, the Memphis Tamer, and as you know, he knows that he's good in the clutch. Now look, I'm not a huge LeBron fan. I like LeBron, but I'm not a huge LeBron fan. I'm not saying he's better than Jordan or Bird, whatever, but the guy's great. He doesn't have a pretty shot, but he hits the ball through the hoop. He takes it to the shot, to the goal. He shut down KD completely when he guarded him. He averaged 30 points a game, 10 rebounds a game. And to say that the Heat isn't the best team for next season is like saying Dorito Shell tacos at Taco Bell's not the best fast food on the market right now.
All right. Hey, everybody. Okay, sorry, it's time for the first cut. Quick score update here. KJ, sorry, man. No! KJ with 25, Andrew Phillips 32, Phil Wagner 34, and Shannon 40 points. High scores today. 25 is a good score, KJ. Let's give it up for KJ. KJ! Any final words?
I was about to roast on David Shannon, so.
You go for it.
I like it.
You can get another shot, man. All right, hey, appreciate it, man. All right, let's forge ahead. It's time to go out of bounds. Here we go. This is a topic that the panelists have not seen. Today's the panel's choice. We haven't done this before, but we're going to let you guys decide which one you'd rather talk about. Would you rather debate the greatest video game of all time or the greatest breakfast cereal of all time? Video games or breakfast cereal? What's it going to be? We're getting the people what they want. Video games for Bill. Video games it is. All right. All right. Greatest video game of all time around the board. David Shannon. Go ahead.
I would have to go. What's tough? I know I'm in a much different generation, but it would either have to be Galaxy or it would have to be probably Pac-Man. And I mean, whenever you can get a game that is in almost like every convenience store in my day, and people would literally line up like they're at Disney World, and they would stand there with a quarter in their hand, just waiting for the guys or the girls in front of them to get done. I mean, it ruled America at that time. You just had to be there to see it. It was amazing.
Had to be there. All right, Phil.
So many great choices. I'm going to go sports, though. I'm going to go Tecmo Bowl. Bo Jackson on Tecmo Bowl was just a beast. And unbelievable. It was great. Y'all should have grew up in the 80s. It was great.
Good stuff. All right, Andrew.
Like I said, this will be probably before your time, but I've got to go to Galaga simply because there was a time where we had a Galaga machine in the break room, and if you've never seen David Shannon play Galaga, you have not lived. I mean, it was unbelievable. You could play. He could go on one quarter forever. Of course, the machine didn't really take quarters, so you just had to have one anyway. But it was awesome. You guys have to see it sometime.
It must be a dad thing. That's my dad's favorite game. He was here today. He was at Will's first big good take. All right, let's go to the lightning round. Beauty is beast. We've a lot of discussion this week about what's beautiful to God. Let's get a little personal. Who is someone that you've gotten to know, somebody outside of your family that is truly a beautiful person? Andrew.
Well, there's a lot to choose from. Thinking outside my family, there's a guy at Gramier that every month there are a box of large print Bibles that come in to the church office, And his name is Sammy, and he's very quiet, very kind, very quiet, but he comes by every month, takes those.
This isn't Snooky.
This is not Snooki, no. It's not, I would definitely let you know that. But he comes, he takes those Bibles and he goes to some nursing homes, assisted living homes, and he's got just a rotation that he works through. And he sits down, he gives those Bibles out, sits down and reads it with people. And he does it quietly, he doesn't tell anybody else about it. We just know it because we see it in the office. And I just think when you have that kind of attitude where you're just selflessly serving others, that's a beautiful thing. So he's definitely one person that comes to mind.
I would say Ron Artest. No, I'm going to go Brennan Page. She is a beautiful person, and got to know her over the years. A lot of beautiful people have come through the youth group. But she's just kind to everyone, loves everyone. And like I said yesterday, I love teens. I love people that accept everybody, are friendly to everybody, don't try to divide into cliques. And Brenna's just awesome. And if you've ever been with her on a mission trip, you've seen how awesome she is.
Immediately I think about the guys that's up here with me. We're kind of like brothers, and man, they have blessed my life in just huge ways. And you can't help but think somebody's beautiful when they make a difference in your life. And so I think of that, but then I also think of, I go back to when I met a girl that was about 12 years old when we lived in Alabama, and her single mom would bring her to church. And she had little glasses on, a little short girl, and her name's Sherry. And Phil, you know her. And so we would, whenever we have youth events, we'd go by our trailer and we'd pick her up. And anytime we needed babysit, anybody in the church needed babysit, she was so dependable and she was so sweet. And she worked hard. She really was Proverbs 31 late. And then, like at 16 years of age, we needed somebody to start teaching at church. And she jumped in and started teaching Bible classes at 16 years old and just knocking home runs. And then, in college, just a beautiful, sweet young lady. And now, I was speaking over in Georgia recently, and she called. She said, "Hey, please come by our house and visit us." And to walk into her house and just see, a faithful Christian husband and wife and beautiful little children, and they're real active in inner city and teaching classes and everything. And you just look at the whole picture and you see that she lived a beautiful life. In the time she was little. And still is. And it's just that kind of beauty. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, let's move on. The last one before the cut. Here we go. Bead hair. Which contestant would look best rocking an old school Justin Bieber haircut? This is going to be an interesting take. Let's hear from Phil.
I'm going David Shannon, hands down. You talk about a good morning. You put Bieber fever hair with the classic coming straight out of Brushy stash, game over. Mount Juliet would have 2,000 members by 2014. They'd be singing, Davey, Davey, Davey.
Let's do it.
David, jump in.
All right. Bieber and I aren't close. We definitely don't study each other, so I may make about as much sense as Phil does when he speaks Spanish in his sleep. But I'm going to go out and say it couldn't be me because the hair and the stash would clash. I don't think it would go.
Is that a Bieber reference? That should be me. I don't know. Maybe.
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't think it was.
Okay. And I don't really think we can choose for this contest discussion here, Andrew, because he already has a preacher's version of the beat. And so that really brings us to Phil, and that's pretty cool because if that happened, there'd be one less lonely girl in the world tonight. Because Phil's gone all around the world, and you better believe he was born to be somebody with the kind of voice he has. He needs that squirrel wrapped around his head, and I smile, you smile, we'd all smile, baby, baby, baby.
I'm sorry, Andrew, it's your turn.
Go ahead. I can't believe you keep running after David. There's no way I can call it. I really hoped that actually David had already gotten the Bieber haircut and just was hiding it under his hat and was going to reveal it, but apparently that didn't happen. It can't be me because I've had the same hairstyle since 4th grade and I don't want to break that streak. So I've got to go with Phil because I would love to see some VBS songs sung Bieber style, and it's not too late to do that this week.
Today.
Yeah, it's today. We can make it happen. Hey, all right, time for the second fight. Andrew Phillips. You put up a good fight, man, but you had two strong contenders today. 41 points for Andrew Phillips, 47 for Phil Wagner, 56 for David Shannon. Any parting words for Andrew?
Just an honor to compete among the best. Man, I'm going to look forward to the showdown.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, y'all give it up for Andrew. Good. One man wins. It's time for the showdown. Here we go. It'll be a good take on this one. Better mustache, David Shannon or Yosemite Sam? David Shannon or Yosemite Sam?
All right, I can't see the picture, but I gotta go David Shannon. Yosemite Sam is a classic, but there are a few things in life that you can take to the bank at Mount Juliet Church of Christ. One, a bus is gonna break down on every trip. Come on. Two, it'll always be convenient to stand. Three, we really hate to do it, but we're gonna break up in fellowship. And number four, you will be greeted with a friendly good morning by the finest preacher in the South, and he will be sporting his trademark stash.
Oh, right. David, talk about yourself. Go ahead. Plead your case.
Okay. First, I'd like to talk about this eighth wonder of the world, mustache. This universal icon is the epitome of authority and raw manhood. It graces children with a chance to believe in a hero, and it causes evildoers to second guess their existence. There are very few things in the world that can achieve this kind of status, and I'm thankful to be sporting one on my upper lip, and I don't ever plan on not doing that. So to answer your question, I'd have to go with David Shannon. Yosemite Sam has nothing on this cookie duster. Nothing on this suit strainer. It looks better on, well, it can look better even on females occasionally, but it makes me look good. No one, not even a cartoon, can compete with this statistic majesty of the push broom on my upper lip. And so I say, go green stash.
You know what? I'm supposed to give 1 point away. You both get a point. Clever takes by both of you. Let's move on. Paper, rock, scissors, robot? A robot created by Ishikawa Oku Laboratory in Japan will beat you every single time. How is it possible? The robo-cheater uses a high-speed camera and quick reflexes. Yes, the robot cheats. By watching the image from a camera that can determine the position of your hand every millisecond, it is aware of your move the very moment you make it. And as soon as your hand starts to form that rock, that robot is giving you some paper to wrap it up. Will this robot ever lose? David Shannon.
I don't trust anything that cheats to win. And so that's why I keep my eye on the field when we play basketball. This is the kind of technology that gets us to the iRobot and to the Terminator someday. And it leads us also to say, how bored were the Japanese to spend time with? Will he be defeated? Yes, and it will be by another robot with a higher speed camera.
All right, Phil.
Will this robot ever lose? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Will anyone in this crowd ever get the image of Hardison singing Boyfriend removed from their score? These are all questions that we need answers to. These are all questions we need answers to. Face it, there have been forces that looked unstoppable before. The 1927 Yankees, the Mount Juliet Junior High girls basketball team, Turtle Power, coached by the wizard Andrew Phillips. The Death Star, William Hung on American Idol. All right? But all can get beat on a given day. So yes, the robot will lose.
I can't give points away to just one of you. They're both so good. All right, final. It's like Run for Your Lives, Killer Robots. Oh, wait, it only does paper, rock, scissors. Chicken Legs Revenge. At church camp this year's 3-on-3 tournament was won by the likes of Morris, Sean, and Juby, leading last year's defending champions Braxton, James, and Stephen, led by Coach KJ, I might add, out for blood next year. What do you think? Will James, Braxton, and Stephen rise to the occasion and restore order next year to reclaim the crown? Over to David.
I think they do win. Mostly because of all-season rigorous preparations that they're making. Coach KJ has already studied both sides of the ball. It really confuses you, that side that says official size and weight. I do fear that it would kind of end with something crazy, like maybe James, Braxton, Stephen being found after the victory that they're ineligible because of their low Kemp Bible class scores. So as with life, it's not as always seems at first glance, so the saga will continue.
All right, Bill.
Look, in a rematch, I see Morris, Sean, and Juby winning again. It comes down to 2 words, strength and power. Morris and Sean have too much of it. Look, for Braxton, James, and Stephen to win, here's what they need to do. Number 1, hit the gym hard over the next year. All right, get bigger, stronger. Number 2, recruit Corday to yell nonsense at Morris. Okay. Number 3, run the picket fence again and again. Number 4, leave KJ on the sideline and bring in Phil Jackson. And number 5, I go to a special guest. It comes down to 1 word, and that's practice. We're talking about practice. Not talking about the game. Not the game that I love, that I die for. I'm talking about practice, man. Practice.
Man, tough call. But you know what? Phil Wagner is the winner today of Around the Horn. Let's say FaceTime. Talk about anything you want to talk about for 30 seconds. Go.
Oh man, today I want to talk to y'all about unity. I want to challenge you as teens. A big problem we have in every youth group in America is cliques. And I want to challenge y'all to rise above that, reach out to everybody, be friendly, like we talked about earlier, be like Jesus. You know, let the beauty of Jesus be seen in you, the way you live, the way you talk, the way you act, every day, not just when you're at church.
Very good. All right, let's have the final word. Everybody jump back in. Final segue, topic of the day. What has changed or transformed your life this week? All the things we've been talking about with beauty, inner beauty, outer beauty. What has changed or transformed your life this week, and how have you been challenged to grow? Andrew.
Well, obviously, I haven't got to be here as much as I'd like to, but I did go home thinking about the Sarah Walker video that I watched right before I left, and you guys saw yesterday. Just thinking about looking at life from God's perspective. I've seen the video before, but it helped to see it again and think about how would God describe my life. You know, if I have had the same camera on it you had on the book of Job, you know, how faithful am I being, and how am I letting Him glorify and everything. So that was really a big challenge.
I think about Monday, the day of purpose, and the great phrase that Phil gave us to remember everybody member of the body matters to the body. And along with that, just also, I've just been thinking about how important it is to be a member of the body. And we all love the church and the opportunity that God gives us to be a part of that, because it really is a beautiful thing to be a part of Christ and be a part of His body. And so I hope that as you enjoy like fellowshipping together and assembling together, that somewhere in all of this is part of love for God and His church.
Everybody listen up. KJ.
Well, when I think of the word beauty, subconsciously, I see like, you know, what every person sees. They see who they think is beautiful. Of course, I see like models and stuff, but personally for me, it's hard to see the true beauty of people. But this week when I met Christopher, that kind of like changed my perspective. You know, listening to his mom tell the story of him, it just helped me realize that there's true beauty in finding your purpose of what God wants you to do. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's beauty in running with your brothers and sisters in Christ.
Yeah, what was Christopher's mom's name?
Lacey.
Yeah, Christian and Lacey.
Christian, Lacey. Yeah, I think about them, and I wasn't here the whole time. I didn't get to hear everything. But, you know, I've often thought about, you know, if I had, you know, children one day, you know, and I was in a similar situation, and I just think, you know, it's just awesome to see the love that she has for her son. And I know when David told me this, you know, when David said that, like a mother said, I was going to abort my baby, but then, you know, I met you, I saw your video, and I decided to keep my baby. And I just think, man, you think about the impact you can have on somebody's life and the impact she's having on people around the world. And, you know, and I thought too, to hear her say, I just heard her say, you know, yeah, Christian can't see, but he'll be playing a musical instrument within a year. You know, he's amazingly gifted. And I think about, you know, people like Ray Charles and, you know, people that have been limited in ways, but they've impacted the world, you know, with different gifts and abilities God's given them. And, you know, think about many moms would have never given him the chance, and he may, you know, change the world.
Very cool. Hey guys, let's thank them all for a great week. Appreciate your takes today.